Before we begin, I want to make it clear that this video is a little nitpicky and might come off a little critical, and that's not to be critical of the game, but just to delve deeply into a subject I enjoy. If you don't enjoy videos that hyper-analyze details about video games, especially inconsequential ones, this probably isn't the video for you. No harm done if you choose to leave now. However, if you do enjoy looking in great detail in the specifics of games like this and talking about different weapons and the details included, then this might just be the video for you. As to the question in the title of the video, why can you suppress the Gauss rifle in Fallout 4? Now, this may be a question that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense and might need some background. But I find it a little confusing that the Gauss rifle can use a suppressor and that it has an impact on the function of the gun given the way the Gauss rifle works. To begin with, we need to understand why guns make noise and how silencers or suppressors, pretty much the same thing, how they work. So there are two major sources of noise for a conventional cartridge firearm. You have the expanding gas that is caused by the ignition of the gunpowder. And the gunpowder, rather than explodes, it actually burns a little more slowly and releases a pressurized wave of gases. And this is what propels the projectile out of the barrel, is the expanding pressure pushing forward on the bullet through the bore. Now, the more gas pressure that is left over when the bullet exits the barrel, the louder the noise will be and the brighter the muzzle flash. So a silencer or suppressor works by giving these gases a series of expansion chambers where they can flow and expand and then cool, and by the time they have made their way through the suppressor, they can be pushed out of the end of the suppressor as cool, low-pressure energy. So in this way, the suppressor or silencer deadens the noise of the combustion of the cartridge. Now there's another factor in gun noise, and that is the speed of the bullet. So for any bullet that exceeds the speed of sound, roughly 1100 feet per second or 330 meters per second at sea level, the bullet will actually create a supersonic crack. Now, a silencer cannot remove the supersonic crack, so when you put a silencer on a high-velocity rifle or even pistol cartridge, you may deaden the noise of the expanding gases, but you will not stop the noise of the supersonic crack. And it's for this reason that subsonic ammunition is used in silenced weapons to make them truly silent. Now that we understand that, let's talk about the Gauss rifle and how it works and the advantage of it. So a typical bullet made of lead or copper can only reach a speed of about 4,000 feet per second before the spin and the energy imparted on the bullet is so strong that the bullet will actually begin to melt and or pull itself apart in mid-air and break apart. So you can't really exceed this limit with traditional bullets. In addition, there's real difficulty passing that velocity curve with conventional gunpowder because you can only push pressure so fast with combustion of materials that can be safely expanded inside a cartridge case. So canonically in the Fallout universe, as well as other sci-fi franchises and even some real-world prototypes, an accelerated energy weapon such as a Gauss rifle or railgun or coil gun uses electromagnetism to impart energy on a ferritic, meaning containing iron and magnetic projectile. And in the case of Fallout and in most universes, you have what's referred to as a sub-caliber round. So in Fallout 4, the bullet is a 2mm bullet. Now this is tiny. This is like an 8 caliber. If you've played Battlefield and seen the Calibri pistol, that is a 2.7mm bullet. So the 2mm bullet of the Gauss rifle in Fallout 4 is tiny. It is very, very small. And it's made of a hardened steel or hardened tungsten alloy. So what you get is something that has very little mass, but is fired at a significant speed. And actually the advantage you get is when you increase the speed of a projectile, you get an exponential gain in energy. Versus just expanding the mass, you only get a linear gain in energy. So that's where something like a Gauss rifle comes in, where you can greatly accelerate the bullet and get a massive return on kinetic energy, to the point that a simple non-exploding bullet can actually have an explosive impact based on the sheer velocity that it strikes the target with. And this is where the crux of my question comes in, is why can you suppress the Gauss rifle in Fallout 4? Well, we know that a suppressor cannot eliminate the supersonic crack. All it can do is suppress the noise of the expanding gases coming out of the barrel. But the Gauss rifle has no expanding gases. There is physically nothing that a suppressor could do to reduce the sound of the Gauss rifle. So to me, when you look at the mechanics behind it, it really makes no sense. Now obviously it was added for gameplay function, and most likely was added so that people could have a very high-powered energy sniper weapon that would take advantage of the sneak attack perks that increase damage with suppressed weapons. There are some potential explanations as to why a silencer might do something. I don't really buy these, but it is a possibility. For instance, the tight-fitting projectile in the bore moving at such a high speed may actually create a piston-type effect and actually combust the air that's in the barrel. So if you look at it in that respect, then I suppose it is possible that a suppressor might do something, but really it would not be as significant by any means as a regular firearm suppressor. I think a very cool way they could have implemented this would be to have a modification not for a suppressor, but to fire large caliber subsonic ammo. So say instead of a 2mm, something huge like 15 or 20mm that would be subsonic and move more slowly, kind of like a plasma gun in the game, and have reduced range, but might do higher damage inside of a close range, and it would make more sense as to why that would be suppressed, because at that point you're now reducing the supersonic crack, which is really the most significant noise signature of the Gauss rifle. So that's it. I could get into this video a whole lot more, but I think that's the basics of it. That's all I have to cover. And now I'd like to ask you, what do you think? Do you have any ideas as to why the Gauss rifle suppressor functions the way that it does? Do you think my confusion, do you agree with my standpoint on it, that it doesn't make sense? Or do you have another reason why you think that, hey, having the suppressor on the Gauss rifle does make sense? Either way, let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you want more Fallout content. And thanks for viewing the video.